Hi, this is Joan, and welcome to my channel. Well, I think I've never really stated, or at least not recently stated, or maybe it's not easy to see. The purpose of this channel was to prove that, one of the purposes rather, was to prove that a lot of the things, or all the things that you see now happening in the world that you wonder, where did this come from, was already prophesied in the Bible. And also to support the ideal that Genesis 3:16 is a curse, and that when curses are removed, that curse will be removed also. So what you're looking at now is a channel that I think is very, very interesting. You can't see it here, but it's called Black Journals, and it gives a lot of very, very interesting information that you won't learn, as far as I can see, pretty much anywhere else unless you become a researcher about things that occurred during slavery. And again, I do apologize. I have a cold, and for some reason, whenever I have a cold, the first thing that goes is my voice. But this particular episode, and I do recommend it, that it's something very interesting to see, is something I had never given any real thought to, and that is one of the major ways that black male masculinity was attacked during slavery was by them not giving the men pants. They made them wear long, um, one slave described it as like a nightgown, a nightshirt. It was longer than a dress, but I guess it wasn't completely anklet. And they give a lot of examples of slaves reporting, and some of them said that they didn't get to wear pants until they were 21. They even had to go out and try to court female slaves while wearing this long gown. Well, what it made me think of was, well, first, this. And this is from the Too Strong channel, and I just wanted to use their picture. But in any case, you see him wearing a long gown. Now, it didn't say anything about the slaves, what color it was. I don't imagine it was probably anything other than beige or something like that. But the thing is, they were not happy about wearing the shirt, tail, gown thing. They didn't like it. They just didn't have a choice. The thing is, Tyrese, as far as I know, has a choice. And the thing is, it's kind of, again, like slavery in that the non-black men all have pants on, and the one black man here doesn't. The difference is, though, like I said, this was his choice. And that reminded me of the movie Leave the World Behind. The movie has kind of a haunting effect. You still keep thinking about it because it's kind of like, I can't remember what the movie was, but it was a Netflix movie about a train collision and chemicals leaking in a certain town. And the thing is, as soon as they released it, a little while afterward, rather, the same thing happened in the same town. So I do tend to take what happens in movies a little bit more seriously. So this reminded me of Mahershala Ali in Leave the World Behind, and how some people were saying that he and his daughter living in the basement or moving into the basement, at least hopefully temporarily, was a reflection of the slave ships. And I remember in the first video I did about the movie, I stated the difference is, in this case, he's doing it voluntarily. He volunteered, he and his daughter, to be in the slave ship. I'm sorry, in the basement of their own home. The same way, Tyrese is voluntarily wearing this outfit when all the other men here are wearing pants. Now, somebody said, well, based upon This being in I think a Muslim nation, and him saying something about Tyrese saying something about his love of the Muslim nation or something similar to that. They're saying that, oh, that's why he's wearing that because it's a Muslim gown. But it seems to me, well, then why aren't all of them wearing it? Why are you the only one who loves them? I mean, they look closer to Muslim than you. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't know. Um, you're, I know what you look like. I don't know what your actual ethnicity or ancestry might be, and the same for them. But still, you are the only one, Tyrese, wearing this, and it is voluntarily, the same way. Um, what is it? George Scott, G.H. Scott, in Leave the World Behind, volunteered to go into the basement. And another thing that I have noticed, and this won't be very long, it's just some things I've been looking at and wondering about. And I hope you can hear me okay. The louder I get, the screechier I get, which is why I'm talking kind of low. I saw a video where a woman, this had nothing to do with the movie or anything, but she was advertising how to make t-shirts. And one of the t-shirts she was showing was like this. Let me see if I can find it. Now, these t-shirts don't look, they're not innocuous or anything. They're just t-shirts. But what I noticed was the deers. The deers are in the headlights and it says fast food. Yeah, it's amusing and all. And it's by, they don't show the whole name anymore, but it begins with wholesale. And it's, you can see it. But what what was intriguing to me or caught my attention is that I had been wondering, what do those deers mean in Leave the World Behind? Because I've seen a lot of people say a lot of things, but I hadn't heard anybody say anything about those deers. And I had the theory that maybe the deers are black people. And I thought, no, how is that? How do you even think that? You're the one thinking it. So I kind of, brushed it aside. But then I saw this, and I hadn't thinking before. If you remember this movie, this is Get Out. Just a scene from it. I can't even run it because even when I do that, I get a copyright strike. But if you remember Get Out, this is a deer that he hit. And when he went to visit his girlfriend's father, the father said something about, I'm glad you hit the deer. I'm paraphrasing because it's too many of them. Hit more of them or something like that. And I had read a review or something. Well, even in the movie, even before I read the review, Chris, the guy from Get Out, had somehow connected that deer to his mom. So I'm thinking, okay, well, and also somebody else had said that, okay, the deer is a symbol for black people. And I thought, oh, okay, maybe. But I don't know. It seems like maybe that is what Leave the World Behind is also telling you. And I think that Um, in both these films, they use male leads with very strong features associated with Africans or with black people. So I think that, of course, nothing done here. Now, this is the father who said about, that about deers. But even in Leave the World Behind, um, I think that when you really look at the movie, it was like a warning to the boule more than your average black people. And I think that the reason why you'd say boule, or I would say boule, is because you have an extremely well-to-do black family. The father is dark skinned, the daughter is light skinned. The wife is not there, but you kind of figure daughter is kind of light skinned, the mom is even more so. And they are the thing about the boule is that they are supposed to be like helpers to the king or something like that. And so, because they are helpers to the king, they get a lot of resources that regular black people don't get. So, I think that that is why you see these in a time of, in Leave the World Behind, in a time of um, an unrecognized emergency, you see these sheep, just not sheep, these deer just running up on people. Like one guy said, just rolling up and flexing. I don't know why that cracked me up for a deer to roll up and flex, but look at it. That is what they were doing. But in any case, um, these deer would be different than if they were black. They would not be the same kind of black as George and Ruth. That's why I'm thinking, okay, that this is a message to the boule that, you know what, you need to side with us. And this is, I'm guessing this is the, non-black population. And what happened with Ruth is another reason why I thought, okay, she is acting like a deer in headlights. If you look at that scene and Leave the World Behind, she stands there. Now, she's been feisty all through the movie, and she is looking at her father as you're supposed to be leading, but you aren't backing me up. And I'm looking out, I'm trying to look out for both of us, but I'm not in the dominant position the way you are in. So she's waiting for him to lead. So she has been having verbal kind of, what is it, repartee with Julia Roberts throughout that her father doesn't acknowledge or notice or, yeah. But in any case, the thing is, she acts like a deer. Even though she is boule, still kind of in a way, I think that they're telling you she is still part of that group in a way. She's similar to them in that she is acting, like I said, like a deer in headlights. Now, this is just, you know, my general thoughts, how things all seem to be leading together. Oh, and also another thing I had noticed about Leave the World Behind was that they were singing, they were playing Cool in the Gang. And what was Cool in the Gang singing? Cool in the Gang was singing Misled. I think the film is telling you that it's going to mislead you even before it begins good. I think it's a message to the boule that you, if there is the ships of Tarshish or some other way that your average black people are getting out of here, you shouldn't go. You should stay and continue to support the king the way you've always done. And these are all just things that have been occurring to me. Now I have a cold. Maybe this is just the a reaction to a lot of cold medicine, but I don't know. I think it's something to consider. And I think, the whole ideal that people can be harassed simply by forcing them to wear clothes, sorry, to not wear clothes that highlight their gender. And then 3 or 4 generations later, depending on how long you measure a generation, they're doing it voluntarily. Oh, They're doing it just because they want to, I guess. No, I don't know what may have coerced him behind the scenes, but it is odd. It's hard to get used to looking at someone who seems so masculine. Now, not only is he in a dress, he's in a red dress. That's, I wonder how the ancestors would look at that. And it also leads me where I have spoken before that, you know, the the Hebrew Israelite community or whomever never really listened to, but maybe it will make more sense now. This is Isaiah chapter 1. I want you to pay attention to verse 9. And it says, except the Lord of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. Now, I want you to remember what happened with Sodom and Gomorrah and why, or at least one of the major reasons why. And let me continue on. Still chapter 1. Please examine verse 17. Now this is God's instruction to his nation as to how he wants them to behave. He says, learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow. Now he's not saying, I can't stand the widow. Forget her. She's not acting right. He said the opposite. Plead for her. Okay, let me continue on. This is chapter 3, starting at verse 16. And these are the verses that the Hebrew Israelite men and some women have been bashing Hebrew Israelite women over the head with for the last few years. My thing is, I don't think it's talking about the women. I think it's making a mockery of the men because look at how the men are behaving. Look at this. This is an identifiably Hebrew Israelite man. Now, I'm saying that's what he is. Let's just say a black man if you believe that the people in the Bible are black. This is from Too Strong. And here you see another Hebrew Israelite man, or black man, Negro man, whatever you want to say. Sorry about that. And here you see another. Here you see another in a compromising position. Not trying to catch them. Okay, here you see another. Now, this is why I'm saying I don't think that those verses are referring to black men. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't think they're referring to black women because he already told you what he wanted. He wanted black men or Israelite men to plead the case of the widows. He didn't say attack them. Now, I think that what he said was, well, what he's saying is that he's disappointed, I think, in his creation, and that it's one thing if you're enslaved and someone takes your clothing that identifies you as masculine. It's another thing to just give them up. The same with a movie. Well, it's one thing if someone captures you and throws you in the bottom of a large boat. It's another thing when you have a large home your own and you put yourself in the bottom. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with the scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet. and their calls and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins and glasses and the fine linen and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell there should be a stink, and instead of a girdle of rent, and instead of well set hair baldness, and instead of a stomacher a girding of sackcloth and burning instead of beauty. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and thy mighty in the war. And her gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. I think just the fact that 24 goes immediately into thy men. I don't think it's talking about the women. Not when you have so many Israelite men so happily giving up their outward show of masculinity. But I am not the type of person who's going to come and say, oh, I got it. I'm totally right. You can't tell me anything. No, I'm not saying that because I could be wrong. But I'm saying, just looking at how things are going, I don't think those verses were about women. He told you to take care of the women. He told you in Isaiah that the women were mostly baby mamas. It's a nation of baby mamas, and that's in Isaiah. It's a nation of baby mamas and their babies. The men are going after other women. That's totally describing the black race. And then it tells the men, what many there are, to plead for the widow and the fatherless children. Now, you have all these Israelite men bringing up all these scriptures saying black women suck. It doesn't say that in the Bible. That's just how you happen to feel, and be, you'll answer for that just like everybody else will answer for whatever they do. But it's when you try to tell other people something, that's far worse than when you're just doing it yourself. If you're just sitting back thinking to yourself, yeah, I don't like those black women, I'm not going to talk to one, date one, support one, or do anything good for one, but you keep it to yourself, that's bad, but it's not nearly as bad as when you get on airwaves and project your behavior onto the very women who have stuck by you to their own detriment in many cases, and you forget about the ancestresses who gave up their lives sometimes to help you, who warned you, who said, hey, don't go there, something bad might not happen for you if you do, but you did it anyway. You don't say anything about that, but the Heavenly Father sees all and knows all, so you can't fool him. But in any case, those scriptures have been used to belittle, deride, and degrade black women. And like I said, please examine them for yourself because I don't think they're applying, excuse me, to black women. I think that this is about all a voice can take right now. So if you stayed this long, I truly appreciate it. And like I said, I'm not trying to say that I have the definitive answer to anything. I hope that this has made you think and maybe re-examine some things and recognize that, yeah, just like I'll admit, I don't have the definitive answer. Neither does anybody else walking this earth. So whether a person, however they identify, whatever private parts they have, you need to really pray about whatever anybody says. So you guys have a great rest of your day. If you could leave a comment or subscribe or just say hello, whatever, it would all be appreciated. and I appreciate you. It's wonderful having you to talk to. So, you guys take care.